Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive, honestly, mind-bending cultural contradiction. It's a mystery that pits super strict romantic ideals right up against a really messy, complex reality, and it's going to totally shift how we think about human relationships. Okay, let's dive into this.
How does a culture with no casual dating have the highest infidelity rates in Asia? Seriously, think about that for a second. That is the core mystery we are unraveling today. On one hand, you've got a society known for being incredibly formal and serious when it comes to courtship. But then you look at the data, and infidelity is just surprisingly common. So how on earth do these two extreme realities actually coexist?
Section 1. The tradition of Kokuhaku, or a serious start.
To really get this paradox, we have to start at the very beginning of the relationship timeline. Fundamentally, dating in Japan is built on this deeply romantic, highly formalized ideal. You don't just stumble into a relationship over there, it's extremely intentional. Enter the tradition of Kokuhaku, which is the tradition of confessing your feelings before officially becoming a couple. Now, in a lot of the world, relationships start kind of vaguely, right? You hang out, you grab a coffee, you see where things go. But here, there's basically no casual hanging out first. You definitely don't just date around to test the waters. Instead, you make a clear, definitive declaration of your feelings before any official relationship even begins. From a psychological standpoint, there's actually something pretty beautiful about this. It completely removes all that modern dating anxiety about where things stand, and it forces absolute clear communication right from day one.
The procedure itself is incredibly structured. Step 1, you confess your feelings. Step 2, and only after that confession, you officially become a couple. It leaves absolutely zero ambiguity. It's crystal clear, it's respectful, and it sets remarkably firm boundaries right out of the gate. And this brilliantly illustrates how structured and ideal the start of a relationship sounds. You are literally stating your romantic intentions up front and pledging to a partnership before you even start acting like a couple.
Section 2. The love hotel reality. A complicated turn.
Okay, so if the start of a relationship sounds like this perfect romantic ideal, the everyday reality takes a much more complicated turn. We're doing a total 180 here, pivoting sharply from those strict, respectful beginnings to a profoundly contradictory physical reality. We literally just established that there is practically no casual hanging out, right? Strict, formal rules govern courtship. Yet, completely contradicting this, Japan has the most love hotels globally. I mean, how do you even reconcile that? How does a culture demand an earnest, formal confession of love before you can even go on a proper date, while simultaneously maintaining a societal landscape that is just dominated by establishments explicitly dedicated to discrete, temporary physical encounters? It's wild.
And the sheer global scale of this is honestly hard to overstate. Japan ranks #1 globally in this industry. They have more love hotels than any other country on the planet. Just let that sink in for a moment. Think about the cognitive dissonance here. This isn't some fringe, hidden underground market we're talking about. It's a massive, highly visible part of their everyday infrastructure. It directly clashes with that hyper-serious, deeply romantic dating culture we just talked about. It's incredibly fascinating to see how a society actually manages to balance these two seemingly totally incompatible extremes without the whole concept of relationships just entirely collapsing.
Section 3. Redefining infidelity, or the loophole.
So how does this actually work? How do both of these things exist in the exact same society? Well, the answer lies in a very specific psychological loophole. Many men don't consider paid companionship to be cheating. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this single sentence is the key to unlocking this entire paradox. It reveals a fascinating aspect of human psychology, which is the sheer power of compartmentalization. Basically, the formal relationship, the one that started with that super serious, earnest Kokuhaku confession, is mentally protected. It stays the core pillar of emotional loyalty. But paid companionship? That gets categorized as something else entirely. It's viewed purely as a transaction, completely divorced from the emotional fidelity that was formally pledged at the very start of the relationship.
And when we understand that mindset, the data suddenly makes perfect sense. Japan has one of the highest rates of infidelity in all of Asia. See, when paid companionship isn't universally classified as cheating by the folks actually engaging in it, the statistics surrounding infidelity naturally just skyrocket. This is the startling reality of how definitions literally shape data. Because emotional loyalty and physical transactions are placed in completely separate mental boxes, the numbers reflect a reality that, from the outside, looks like this massive betrayal, but from the inside, it operates under a completely different, highly compartmentalized set of rules.
Section 4. A complicated conclusion. The final paradox.
So,
We started with an expectation of utter romantic purity and incredibly structured beginnings, right? And we ended with a reality of widespread infidelity facilitated by a massive industry. The framework of expectation versus reality that we've explored in this explainer is truly fascinating. We're ultimately left weighing the strict rules of love against the surprisingly flexible rules of betrayal, and it forces us to ask a really profound question. In a system where the beginnings of love are so rigidly defined, yet physical loyalty can be so easily compartmentalized, what does commitment really mean? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this leaves you with plenty to think about until next time.